9 weeks of the NFL season have come to a close and we are at the halfway point. Some teams have been extreme disappointments, some rookies have exceeded all expectations, and some teams and players are doing exactly what they've always done and just win football games. I'm going to rank the 10 best teams in the NFL as things stand right now. First off, I'm going to start things off with my honorable mentions. Honorable mention number 1 is the Houston Texans. The Texans have been devastated by injuries this year. Nico Collins looked like the best receiver in the NFL before he injured his hamstring, and Stephon Diggs was supposed to bring this Texans passing attack to the next level, but he's done for the year due to an ACL injury. It feels like everything that could go wrong for the Texans this season when it comes to them making a Super Bowl push has gone wrong. Even their offensive line has taken a big step back from their play in 2023. The lone bright spot for the Texans this season has been Joe Mixon, who has looked like one of the 3 best running backs in the NFL, right next to Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. Looking ahead at the rest of the Texans season, I'm still pessimistic even if Nico Collins is able to get back on the field, because every single one of their wins this year has been a one-score game, except for blowing out the Patriots and Drake May's first start. Even when the Texans have been winning, they have left you wanting more, which brings me to my other honorable mention. The Atlanta Falcons are a good football team, but they're my honorable mention number 2, and they're on the outside looking in from the top 10. Kirk Cousins has proven he can still facilitate an offense at a high level, but they have just not been very impressive. Their best win was a 1-point game in week 2 against the Eagles that did not have AJ Brown on the field. They squeaked out a win versus the Buccaneers in week 5 in overtime, and then beat the Buccaneers the second time around when all of their key players were out with injuries. Beat up on the dumpster fire Panthers, the Saints who just fired their head coach, and the Dallas Cowboys. The Falcons just have not been all that special this season. Now, coming in at number 10, I have the Los Angeles Chargers, which may be a little high for some people and not high enough for others, but they are a really good football team. It will be hard to finish the season at this pace, but their defense is only allowing 12.6 points per game. To put that in perspective, the all-time great Baltimore Ravens defense, led by Ray Lewis, only allowed 10.3 points per game. The Chargers have shut down bad teams like the Panthers and Saints as they should. Then against teams that are capable of putting up a lot of points, the Chiefs and Cardinals both only put up 17 points. This past week, they completely shut down the Browns, who lit up the Ravens the week prior. The only thing holding back this Chargers team is their lack of offensive talent, which luckily all seems to at least be getting healthier than they were at the beginning of the season as we approached the end of the season. So props to Jim Harbaugh for making a lot of progress in year 1 of his tenure. Now, the 9th best team in the NFL, which will undoubtedly piss their fan base off, is the Philadelphia Eagles, but they are just too inconsistent from a coaching perspective to be confident that they would beat any of the teams I have ranked higher than them on this list, especially if AJ Brown misses time due to the knee injury he just suffered. Congratulations, Eagles fans. Over your 4-game win streak, you've beaten the Browns, Giants, Bengals, and Jaguars. It is easy to win 4 games in a row when you're playing against bad teams or bad defenses and have a more talented roster. No one in their right mind would have picked them to lose to any of those teams. The losses they have picked up this season, though, have been embarrassing, and Nick Sirianni has been a stooge. I sound overly negative, but with how talented this Eagles team is, we should be seeing more from them, and that's all I want. Saquon Barkley is carrying them, and I think they will be really tested against the Commanders twice, Rams, Ravens, and Steelers. Depending on how they play in these games will show us a lot if they can compete for a Super Bowl or even NFC Championship game. At number 8, which will piss off the Eagles fans again because they beat the Packers, is the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have just shown us more overall. They beat teams with their backup quarterback. When their starting quarterback is healthy, they light defenses up, and they take the ball away from other teams at an extremely high rate. They also have so many offensive weapons, it is sometimes hard to keep track of all of them. The only thing holding this team back is Jordan Love's health and his tendency to turn the ball over when he is healthy. This team can make a Super Bowl push if Jordan Love is able to get healthy as they approach the end of the season, and if they can button up turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. At number 7, the Steelers are the 7th best team in the NFL, which probably is too low for their delusional fan base, but it is what it is. Justin Fields did just enough to get the Steelers to where they are now, atop the AFC North, and Russell Wilson has clearly taken this Steelers offense to a new level, but they have not really beaten anyone. Congratulations, you beat up on Kirk Cousins in week 1, fresh off of an Achilles tear, beat up on rookie Bo Nix in week 2, beat up on a banged up Justin Justin Herbert in week 3, lost to the Colts in week 4, got embarrassed by the Cowboys in week 5, and going on a winning streak against the Raiders, Jets, and Giants is no accomplishment. The Steelers may have one of the highest floors in the NFL because of Mike Tomlin and how good their defense is, but they just don't have as high a ceiling as some other teams when it comes to their offense. At number 6, I have the Vikings, and they have fallen from grace a little bit when it comes to the extremely hot start they got out to. The thing that makes you most pessimistic about them as we look towards the rest of their season is that they lost the best left tackle in the NFL for the rest of the year, and their team performance has just not been very impressive over the last 3 weeks, going 1-2 over that span. I'm still ranking the Vikings high because I think they're one of the best coach teams in the NFL, but I am skeptical due to injuries and Sam Darnold if they have enough overall talent to make a deep playoff push. At number 5, it is time to admit that the Commanders are one of the best teams in the NFL, and if you ever had any doubts about them, you just need to throw those doubts completely out of the window. While I'm not going to say their defense is the best in the world, since they got absolutely destroyed in week 1 against the Buccaneers, their defense has been better every single week. Dan Quinn has transformed their defense into an average to above average unit, which is all they need, with Jaden Daniels lighting teams up offensively. Terry McLaurin is having an absolute career resurgence. Brian Robinson has shown just how good he can be right next to Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels is having one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time. The only thing, besides injuries of course, potentially holding the Commanders back come playoff time is their lack of depth on offense at skill positions. Now, the 4 best teams in the NFL that are real contenders for the Super Bowl. At 4, I have the Buffalo Bills. It would surprise nobody if a completely healthy Bills team got hot in the playoffs and made a Super Bowl run. Josh Allen, as he always has been, is truly dominant this year, but he's not turning the ball over almost at all, which is impressive considering how turnover prone he's been in years past. When Josh Allen gives you the electricity of his highest highs and is also rarely turning the ball over, the Bills offense is unstoppable. The only reason I have the Bills at 4 and not higher on my week 9 power rankings is because I just think the teams I have ranked higher are more consistent. The Bills have a tendency to put up some duds. Against the Texans, Josh Allen's stat line was saved by a pass to Keon Coleman for a long touchdown in a loss, and they got absolutely blown out of the building by the Ravens, which brings me to my next team. If I was ranking offenses, the Ravens are the most impressive offense in the NFL, and they'd be at number 1. They are on pace to have the most team offensive yards in a single season. Lamar Jackson is on pace to have a stat line better than his 2019 campaign, which is crazy to even think about, and Derrick Henry is on pace for close to 2,000 rushing yards on the season. There is not a team in the NFL that can stop this Ravens offense when they are firing on all cylinders. This brings up the Ravens' biggest problem. Their defense allows more passing yards than any other defense in the NFL on a per game basis. That is why when their offense is not otherworldly, they have losses this season where Jameis Winston carves them up, or in week 2 when Gardner Minshew carved them up. They can blow out anyone in the NFL with how good their offense is, but they can also lose to anyone in the NFL if their offense has a slightly off game. At number 2, the Chiefs are just different. Every single week, they just find ways to win football games. It does not matter who gets injured on their offense because the Chiefs find ways to put up more points than their defense allows. Their defense is absolutely suffocating, and whenever you have Patrick Mahomes as your team's quarterback, you are confident in your team's ability to put up points when you need it most. Some people will try to downplay the Chiefs season because of Patrick Mahomes' stat line, but that does not matter when the Chiefs are undefeated and likely going to be the 1 seed. The scariest thing for fans in the AFC right now is that the Chiefs are going to get by in the playoffs, and teams are going to have to try to go into Arrowhead, the hardest environment to play in the NFL, and beat a team that's trying to make three-peat history. Now, if I don't have the Chiefs at 1, the undefeated looking to three-peat champions, who do I have at 1? It's the Lions. The Lions are just so good, it almost does not even make sense. Their offensive line is a human wall that Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging nearly 6.5 yards running behind, and they have David Montgomery to pair with them, who is more than capable of being multiple other teams' number 1 running back. The Lions are so good at running the football that they beat the Titans 52-14, and Jared Goff threw for only 85 yards. The even more impressive thing about their offense is that Jared Goff is completing 75% of his passes, and when they need him to throw to beat other teams, he'll drop 280 yards and 2 touchdowns like he did versus the Vikings. The Lions are the only offense that rivals the Ravens, and they're actually scoring more points per game than them. They also even have a top 10 scoring defense and have been able to overcome the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. Right now, I would be extremely surprised if they were not the team representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. That is how I would rank the 10 best teams in the NFL as of week 9 of the NFL season. Let me know where you agree with me. Let me know where you think I am laughably wrong. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I will see you in the next one.